Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. You want the games? Oh, we'll give you the games. These are brand new in the beginning of December 1982. And we were last playing Defender. Finally, at home on the Atari home computer and the Atari 5200. Let's see what our next video game release is. We're next going to play on the Dragon 32, and just around the corner, 1983, is when they up the memory and it's the Dragon 64. This is Defense. Just Defense. Not to be confused with Defense that we typed in from Softside Magazine, but this is the exact same, basically, game that we already played on the TRS-80 color computer. Why are we playing it again? Because we play every single video game, and because the Dragon 32 usually has really cool box art, so we're here for the box art. This is Defense, and this one actually looks more like a sandcastle with some fireworks going on, but you can see there's ships. We got to blow them up. Lots of explosions. Wouldn't have it any other way. This one is the 42nd game that we've seen for the Welsh Micro, the Dragon 32. Flip it over the back, and shocker, it's a cassette tape, because we played video games on cassettes here in December 1982 on home computers. Let's see the other artwork for Defense. This one is by Microdeal. The 20th time we've seen anything by this company, bringing us games like Escape, the awesome Phantom Slayer, and Scarfman. So I think this was the first way you would have seen the box. Every now and then we get Dragon 32 games as the first release and then a later release. That fancy box most likely was the 1983 one, and then this one was the first time you would have saw it. Arcade game, defend your missile bases against the oncoming barrage of enemy missiles. Now I know why they needed a better marketing for that one. Oh yes, Curtis, it does have a different color set. We can mess around with that when we get to it. So flip over the inside, and you can see here's the loading instructions. It's machine language, and there's an example of the screenshot, and that's pretty much all we got. Let's pop in the cassette to play Defense. This is by Colorful Software, published by Microdeal in the beginning of December 1982. This is the fourth time we've seen anything by Colorful Software, bringing us games like Color Out and Nibbler. So all we got to do is do C load M, and then I'm going to spare you the loading for a cassette tape. We're going to go really fast. And then EXCE brings us in. Do we need instructions? Instructions. Yes, I'll take instructions. Defense is an arcade quality game in which you use laser fire to defend your outpost from an onslaught of enemy laser beams. Flip charges and fusion bombs. Develop a strategy for firing so as to conserve your ammo. You have to use the right joystick to sight and position before pressing the button. So we got our analog joystick plugged into our Dragon 32. Intercept laser beams, fusion bombs, and flip charges before they hit your outpost. Each time you fire, you expend 1 round of ammo. You have a main ammo supply. Now, I actually don't remember these instructions on the TRS-80 color computer version, and I'm sure Curtis will correct me if the Coco has this. But it's showing here the controls. Protect your ammo at all costs. Press the fire button to bring ammo from the ammo dump to the command outpost. And then we have the scoring right here. You got to know what the points are. We can flip charges, starting on 4 times the screen. Fusion bombs, maximum of 6. Lots of instructions. By pressing the X key, you can change your color set. That's what I want to try. The X key. At the end of each game, a score will appear. Press the fire button for a new game. And the clear key will terminate the game early. And that's the same sound we heard when we played Defense on the Coco. It sounds like we're about to lose. This is Defense. We push the button, and let's go. I'm ready to play. Oh, look at this. And it starts off with black and white. That's so funny. Okay, so I'm going to keep it on this color set. This actually reminds me a little of when we play the Atari home computer games without a... without artifacting enabled. Uh-oh, he's already going for some of the bases. But if I push X, look. Oh, wait, there you go. Oh, wait. There it is. Look, it looks like the Coco again. If you wanted it. But we have buttery smooth analog joystick control. And remember, there is no such thing as a mouse right now. And I mentioned this when we played the Coco version. This one is pretty cool, that plays this way. The analog joystick works great. And that's why when we saw this on the Atari 5200 with its analog joystick, I gave it high marks. And look at the explosions. They feel like they stay there too long. They linger. Oh, I should have gone to the side and got that one. So very, very nice. We call these games command shooters. This is the 51st command shooter that we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. It's obviously a variant of Missile Command, the 24th time we've seen a clone or variant of Missile Command, and this is across all systems everywhere. This is the 20th that we've seen on all home computers so far, and this is the very first command shooter for the Dragon 32. So if you were in Wales right now, and this is the only computer you had at home, this is your Missile Command right now. That's all you got for this computer. Some of the best ones to play on other home computers, I always got to bring up Polaris that's on the Coco. That one kicks this one's butt because we've seen lots of variants where your base in the center is one base like it has here. And notice when we finish a whole set of ammunition, we push the attack button and then it fills up more ammunition again. Polaris, while it's using subs at the bottom, it uses 3 bases just like it does in the arcade. Oh, no, I'm too slow. I got to lead the shot. There we go. Cool. So we've also seen pretty good ones like ABM on the Apple II, Laser Command on the BBC Micro, Laser Defense on the TRS-80, and then Sentinel and Stratos. Those are the really good command shooters. But this one, because of the analog controls, I give it a nod as being very good. And you could argue it's still around the average range for everything you can see up to this point or play up to this point. Man, though, it's pretty good, though. Yeah. It would be really fun to play with mice later, but I don't think we're going to do that. And yes, Marshall, we've seen color spelled lots of different ways. With the O, OU, or just O. So of all the games you could play across all home computers right now, Missile Command is still awesome. I still enjoy Missile Command for defense on the Dragon 32. This is still around the average range, but I don't want to say just 3 stars. I'm going to say the same rating we gave it for defense on the TRS-80 color computer. Switching the color modes, I guess, would be a plus. So I'm going to say 3.5 stars. Just slightly above average for everything you could play on all home computers thus far. Way to go, defense. And Charlie's with me, I can see in the chat. Oh, well, I got lots of 3.5s. Are we going to do a 3.5 sweep from everyone that's here for the live show? That'd be pretty fun. All right, let's see what our next game is. We're next going to play on the Apple II. It's December 1982, just getting ready for the holiday season. Is Dig'em the game that you're going to get for Christmas? Let's find out. Here's the box for Dig'em. If it's a real box. Come on, is this a real box? I think it might be a fabrication. This game is only on the Apple II. It is the 437th game that we've seen for this home computer. And it is by High Powered Games, as it says here. The second time we've seen this company, the only other thing they've done is Rainbow Zone. And if you haven't seen Rainbow Zone, it is one of the weirdest shooters that we've ever seen. Check it out. So this box is, yeah, probably not a real one, but they're giving an example of the screenshot, and they're really giving away what kind of game this is. Howdy, Brad. No problem if you're late. Welcome to Chronologically Gaming. Do we have any other artwork for Dig'em? Nope. We just got the screenshot, and it's already telling us what the game is. All right, let's pop in this disc to see what Dig'em is like. This is High Powered Games in the beginning of December 1982. Boop, boop. Give me that Apple II. Nice. All right, so this one, I couldn't find a cleanly cracked version of this. We have to play the cracked by the Parasite and the Magnet version of the game. Now, it goes right in, and I'm trying my analog joystick, nothing. I try my paddle controls, nothing. That means this is keyboard controlled only. Everyone ready? That sounds like the same opening that we just heard for Defense. And we are playing a ripoff of Dig Dug. Look at this. It is Dig Dug for sure, and it's so. Okay, so let me just explain the controls first. I'm using what they would usually do for developer controls. I, J, K, and M are moving my character around. That's brutally difficult. So I can move up, down, left, and right with I, J, K, and M. When I want to use my pump, I hit enter, and it just makes the pump pop out. Oh, look, it has a little animation though whenever you die, so that's nice. However, the enemies, that was very unfair. Let's see if we can... And where did the sound go? It's like we got a little bit and then... Wow, I think we're already at game over. Yep, and there's the game over. Wow, that was fast. We can go in again. Okay, just loose this again. Bring it in. Bring it on. Come on. Wait, the pumping... There's no pumping. It's just one hit, and then look at... It freezes in place, and I can walk through it. But look how unfair the enemy... The enemy coming at me is extremely difficult. Now, let's see if the rocks even work. Did they drop down? No? Oh, and you went through my pump. That's not fair either. Brutal. All right, well, it dropped, I think. Did it? Okay, so the rocks do drop. Oh, we got a carrot in the middle. And I'm dead again. It's very, very difficult controls. Keyboard controls by itself already feel loose. I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to catch anybody with that rock. Okay, I got him. Wow. Look at this. All you got to do is use your pump once, and the enemy is just dead and freezes in place. Is that our game over? Yeah, there's a game over again. Wow. So this one is a arcade digging game. The 18th arcade digging game that we played on all systems so far on Chronologically Gaming. This is the 10th that we've seen on all home computers so far. Games like Miner that we saw on the Commodore PET, Eureka for the TRS-80, original TRS-80, Gold Rush that we typed in from Compute Magazine, Cavern Quest on the TRS-80, and Exterminate on the TRS-80. And so Dig Dug, though, is a little bit more rare. This one is, the keyboard controls, I would say, bringing it down, but it's not just the keyboard controls. Is everyone seeing how unfair the game is? It's crazy fast. And they have diagonal movement when I don't even have that. Wait, can I? No, I cannot move diagonally. Pump it. Pump it. Okay, got a little lucky there. Let's see if I should be able to lead him over. Now, can we crush him with a rock? No. Oh, well, we get a little ditty to move on to the next round. It's also eerily quiet playing Dig Dug. Dig Dug's supposed to have constant music while you're moving around, and this one does not. But it is a clone of Dig Dug. Oh, is the enemy even smart enough to do that? Let's see. Oh, it is, and it ran after us. Did we get the game over? No, we didn't. Okay, is it going to follow the maze? Oh, it does. It follows the maze around. Interesting. All right, so far on Chronologically Gaming, here in December 1982, we've seen 2 games in the official Dig Dug series. And what I mean is we've seen Dig Dug in the arcade in April 1982, and then we've seen Dig Dug on the Sword M5 computer in Japan. So we have 2 official Dig Dugs. There's been 7 variants or clones of Dig Dug. This is the 7th that we've seen on all systems so far. The really good ones we've seen in the arcades have been, like Robbie Roto. That was a really good one. I like Robbie Roto. We also saw The Pit by Centuri in the arcade, and the best of the best, Mr. Do is out in the arcades right now. Wiping is kind of like Dig Dug. We've also seen that one, and Digger is another one. On home computers, the only variant of Dig Dug that we've seen that's not true Dig Dug was Anteater on the Atari home computer. That was awesome. And yes, my attacks are only horizontal. Wait, hold on. Can I attack vertical? Oh, I can! Okay, let's try it. Okay, that's better. Gosh, though, it's very unfair how fast the enemies move. And look at the enemy that I just blew up. It's frozen in place. That's so funny. I really want to see a rock fall on top of him. Let's see if we can do it. Come on. It's too fast. I don't think it's possible for us to get a rock on him. Look at that. No way. I'm not going to be able to escape that. So while it's very rare to play a clone of Dig Dug, this one is not very good. Of all the games you could be playing on home computers, you would have a trip just seeing the screen, and being excited. Maybe that's why, if that really was the box, they were selling this game because of the screenshot. Like, oh my gosh, it's Dig Dug. Yes, Marshall, I feel it too. It feels more like a demo. Like, this is not a finished product. It needs to be cleaned up. I mean, but to recreate Dig Dug or play something that's close to Dig Dug, you need to do a lot. You need the music. And this one makes the Sword M5 version look like witchcraft. When you think of, the games you could play on computers right now, it's too good. This one, though, I don't even think I can get... I don't think I can get the rock to fall on their heads. Well, you would find some enjoyment on it. I kind of don't want to call it completely broken, just because you would understand the cadence of this game and get it to work. And I'm being very harsh on it, just because you would have to take some time to familiarize yourself with how this game works, because it really doesn't play like Dig Dug. It doesn't feel like it. It just looks like Dig Dug. So I'm looking in the chat. We already have some bad ratings. The 2-star rating means you call this game bad for all the games you could play on home computers. Marshall saying 1.5 stars. Brad saying 2.5. That's true. If this is all you had, you would enjoy it. You'd have some fun with it, because there's not a lot of Dig Dug. It's very rare to get anything close to this. And then I see mostly 2s from Charlie and Brian, 2.5 from M. Tiskey. That's pretty kind. All right, so dig 'em. I don't know if I can dig that one. It's low. I was going to say about 2.5 stars is where I was going to start, subpar. I don't know if I want to call it straight bad. Marshall's going pretty low with 1.5 stars. You'd find yourself having an okay time. Two's rough, though. Curtis is saying 2 to 2.5. In a way, when we first saw clones of any video game, when we were in the arcades in the 70s, I was rating the clones a lot lower than the official games, giving more props to whoever had the idea should come out with it first. This game, if this had nothing to do with dig, let's say they reskinned it and just had a digging game, I probably would rate it higher, but part of me wants to rate it lower because they're capitalizing on a concept or the arcade dig dug, and they don't execute it very well. Yes, right? But there's so many good games on the Apple II. Yeah, I gotta say 2. 2 stars for Dig 'em. It's a bad game because they're ripping off Dig Dug, and there's just so much better fun games out there. So yeah, I'll concede with a few of the 2 stars that were out there in the chat. And yes, I'm with you there, Brad. If it was all you had, then that's what you'd use for Dig 'em. I don't know, man. Maybe I want to do 2.5 because you could find some. Well, they didn't have the joystick controls though. Yeah, we'll go 2. 2 stars for Dig 'em. Dig Dug deserves better, and clones of Dig Dug deserve better too. Yeah, there's too many good games. All right, let's see what our next game is after Dig 'em. Next up, it's time to go to Japan and check out the latest release on the NEC PC-8801. This is Dragon and Princess. Not Dragon and the Princess, just Dragon and Princess. Here's the box. Oh yes, prepare yourselves. The very first versions of this game were on the NEC PC-8001 series, as we see here on this cassette tape. And the cassette tapes in Japan, I've never knew this before the show. They're all flipped the other direction. Have you noticed that all the releases in Europe and North America, the cassette tapes are vertically oriented, but in Japan they make the artwork horizontally oriented. So you'd actually be flipping the spine this way to see what it is, rather than the other way. But the artwork for this one is pretty good when you consider the games you would be playing on home computers. It looks really nice. This one is the 17th game that we've played for the PC-8801 or 8001. We've been putting them together in one category. And a lot of the games that were released for the 8001 are going to be re-released or able to be played on the 8800. Now, I'm not able to translate Japanese, but the majority of the games that we're going to be playing in Japan, if I can find a translation, we will be playing those. This one is big. We have a lot of stuff that we can talk about for Dragon and Princess. Let's take a look at the rest of the artwork we got. Oh yes, Charlie, it is getting closer to Japan's console era for sure. So this is the way you probably would have seen this on the store shelves if you wanted to, have it vertical. There's the spine, and then the cassette tape that we're going to pop into our 8801, not the 8001. This one is, if you see from the front, there you go, the front of the box says it's by the Koei Group. That's right, this is by Koei, one of the very first video games that we've seen by this company, and they're still making games today. There could have been another game that was released in 1981 that we didn't see yet, just because release dates are a little spotty, called Kawanikijima no Kasen. There's also other games that we haven't seen yet by Koei called Nightlife, and man oh man, we're going to get into that one later, and Chitai Tanken. Those games are going to be just around the corner that we'll be seeing here on Chronologically Gaming. But because I know so much about the history of Japanese video games, there's so much that's not documented that it wouldn't surprise me if Koei had even more games before that. So this is what it looks like with the whole sleeve, the whole presentation and experience. But look at that logo for Koei. It's so ancient. It's incredible. I love it. Looks like only 4,500 yen for this one. And now this is the version that we're going to play for this screenshot, but this has multiple versions, lots of different ones you could have played. It also is available in 40 column and 80 column mode. There's an example of the 80 column mode. And if you played one of the first versions, this is what it looked like. Notice the difference between the graphics, at least for the combat mode. The version that we're going to be playing is going to be a later one, just because I want to show off the NEC PC-8801. But most likely, if you played it for the very first time, this is what you had. There is some people that looked in the code and they saw October 1982 as the release date. It's either the 8001 was released in October, or the development time began in October and then it was released here in the beginning of December 1982. All right, so we don't need to go through screenshots, though. I have a few other things we can look at. One is I have some maps for Dragon and the Princess. This is the map of the town. You can see we have the bandit safe house, the street corner intersection, and the roads for the map. This was all on CRPG Addict's website that I got from. Really helpful. I'm going to include links down below for that. And then the main map, look at the map for this game. It's not a ton of screens. We've seen other adventure games that have screens like this, but I just want to show you the beginning, where you start. So if you look at the highlighted green right above my head, that's the King's Hall. When you go south, and if you were to continue going south after the castle, you go to the Wasteland, and then the Lake of Joker, and then you go to the Oak Forest. Look at that. That is the direction of you being lost in the forest. That is insane. I'm amazed that it was mapped out this way, but we are not going to get lost in the forest because I don't want to have to deal with that. It's just funny that that's part of the game. That's usually what you would experience with adventure games. All right, I have the manual for Dragon and Princess. This one is completely in Japanese. I haven't translated this one, but we do have a version of the game that will be in English. Thank you so much, CRPG Addict, and I'll credit also the translator for the game when we get into that. So I'm just going to breeze through the manual because it's explaining with lots of text, no pictures, how to play the game. This is broken up into two different parts. The game is essentially a text or interactive fiction video game mixed with a combat system like a tactical role-playing game. It is very, very intriguing. You have the example of a very blurry screenshot there, but they're breaking down all the stats for your party members. And then you can see the screenshot is very reminiscent of the first version that we saw the screenshot for. And Marshall's bringing up the Odyssey 2. We're far from the Odyssey 2 now. So I have the version in Japanese, the 1.2 version, but we also have the translated English version. Thank you so much. Let's pop in and play Dragon and Princess by Y. Hayase and Locke, published by Koei in the beginning of December 1982. So this one's part of a compilation pack. I'm going to go ahead and boot up Dragon and Princess, the English translated version. Let's play. So the two sections of this game have interactive fiction or text only, and then role-playing. So this one is the 229th interactive fiction text-only video game that we played thus far, because it really does have an adventure side to this game. So the English translation was done by Laszlo and N. Lusel. Thank you so much for doing the translation. Here we go. Oh, I also noticed that it says Koei Mycom, because that's how they were doing their publishing right now. Again, one of the very first times we've seen Koei. Now, this game is special because it's highly regarded as the very first Japanese-made role-playing game on any home computer. But like I said before, the rabbit hole of video games on home computers in Japan goes so deep that it wouldn't surprise me if there already was a Japanese-made role-playing game before this one. So while most people say it is, as I've been digging deeper and playing more and more games and scouring databases in Japan, I'm sure there's another role-playing game, but as of right now, this is the first one we've ever seen that's been made in Japan. There's a few other contenders, too, for games that were Japanese-made role-playing games, like adventure-style games, the text-only games. There's been Omotasando Adventure that we've already seen that was made in Japan. There's also ports of Zork and Zork 2 that are available in Japan that we've seen here on Chronologically Gaming. There's also graphic text adventure or text adventures with graphics that Japan's done, like Mystery House, Volume 1 and 2, and then the Micro Cabin Mystery House. There's also one that had a little bit of role-playing elements, just a little bit. Spy Daisakusen is also another one we played, and then another one we saw was Takara BD Adventure. All right, so let's go in the game. I'm going to push any key to begin. They're going to ask what screen width we want. I'm going to go with the 80 column mode because I want to see the flashiest, coolest graphics. But you could go with 40 column if you wanted to. Here we go. We want a new game? Yes. We are not loading our game. Okay. The game begins with 5 characters. This is a tactical role-playing game where you'll be able to control all 5 characters. Very, very impressive. And you essentially get all the stats ahead of time. So you can see we have our power, we have our speed, our hit percent, or the percentage that we're going to make a hit, our hit points, and then our experience points. All right, so all we get to do is name ourselves, which number 1 will be me. I'll name him. Is it all capital? Oh, it's not capital. Cool. Seed. Oh, wait. Why didn't it delete? Oh, it isn't capital. I want to remove... C. Oh, okay, it does do that one there. That'll work. .chrono, why not? And then you name the other companions you're traveling with. So I will use who's here right now live on the show. Let's go with Charlie was last, and then before that was Marshall, and then before that was Brian, and then before that was Curtis. All right, so there's our party. Here's all the commands that you can do during the text adventure style part of the game. You can enter, you can go out, you can look, search, hurry, read, attack, or destroy. You can buy things, get things, change position, look at your inventory, quit, and then get your condition. And then the movement, when we go into the battle scenes, you're using the numpad, or the 10 key. North, south, east, and west to travel around. Are we ready? Yes. Okay, let's start. Good luck. And Lucas, I'm not sure. My guess would be yes. All right, so we're in the King's Hall. With your 4 companions, you're kneeling before the king and princess. The king commands you thus. Bandits have appeared in the land recently and have stolen much of our treasure. Recover treasure worth 300,000, that's 300 million, I believe, in gold coins, and exterminate the bandits. Return here as soon as you have done so. Now go. And the game begins with just this. It's all text. And now we can do things like push L to look. And the king says, the king and princess are before us. The hall is wide, teeming with knights, and we're at the king's hall. So if we search, I believe, yeah, it says it's nice weather. Now, if I get, now it's very dangerous, I'm not going to do it, but if I hit G to use the get command, it will take the princess. It will actually grab the princess, and then the knights will attack us. So I will not be getting the princess, but it's a fun thing to try if you're playing the game on your own, because we end up going in a battle scene with the knights, and we will be obliterated. They will destroy us. So what I want to do first is I want to leave the King's Hall by pushing out, and it says, take care, we're now out at the castle. And from here, you're kind of free to explore and start drawing your own map, if you would, if you're playing yourself. Now, the game is just like a text adventure game. It's very obtuse, and you can get lost, as you saw on the map I said before we began the game. This part is very much like any other adventure game we've seen at this point, but it's even a little more cryptic, because notice that I'm not fully typing out commands in a text parser. I'm just typing one key to move where I want to go. If I go north, east, or south, I will be lost, and the game will completely put me in a random place in the map, and I have to eventually use trial and error to get back on the path. The right way to go is west, so we're actually going to start going west. So we're now at a road. If we look at the road, it says it stretches off in the horizon, and there's a grove here. Now, if I say search, it says there's a sign in the grove. If I don't do this, I won't have a signpost to determine or find out where I'm supposed to go. So now I should be able to read the signpost, and it says on the sign, WNN, or west, north, north. So that right there is extremely cryptic. That's like United Kingdom written adventure game cryptic. It's brutal. All right, so let's go ahead and head west. Oh, sorry, west. There we go. And you have to use the number pad. So this would be the number 4 to travel west. And let's head north now, at a road, and then north. And so now we're at a tea house, which is another landmark. Now that we got to this landmark, if you don't go the correct way, you will get lost again. So let's look. The road stretches off to the horizon. The tea house is closed today. Oh, so we can't go enter the tea house? Yeah. It won't let us enter because the tea house is closed. We don't get tea today. All right, so if we examine the tea house, no, not examine, search. There's something written on the tea house's wall. So now if we read, then it will say the castle. If we want to go to back to the castle, it's south, south, east, east. If we want to go to the town, it's west, west, north, north. Which means, I'm sure everyone that's watching the live show has played The Legend of Zelda and the Lost Woods. You go in the Lost Woods and you have to know the correct way to get out of the Lost Woods. This game is utilizing all the major landmarks and places you go just in the same fashion. And we've seen plenty of adventure games that do that, where you get lost in the desert or lost in the mountains or lost in a maze, and you have to know the correct cardinal directions to get out. This game, in this first mode, that's what compromises all you're doing. It is extremely cryptic, and it's got to be so frustrating, because you'll be getting lost on your first playthrough of Dragon and Princess over and over and over again. Yeah, Curtis. UK difficulty with polite all the Canadian made games, they're much more polite and easy for adventure games. Yeah, right. Yeah, and I like the tea house side of it too. All right, so we want to go to the town, so let's head west and west and north and north. We're now at Ross Blue Town's Gate. And if we enter, we hit E, we'll enter and we're in the city, and now we're part of the whole town map that we saw. It is a very, very large town. I'm going to go ahead and exit the town. Let's get out of here. Leave, I think, right? No, not look. Open? Yeah, out. So we leave the city and we're now outside. Now we're going to get lost. But before we do, I want to show you our inventory. The team's belongings, we have 10 pieces of food, 30,000 gold. Nice. We have no treasure, but everyone in our party is using a short sword right now. All right, so what I'm going to do is let's purposely get lost. We're not going to go in the town and buy any new equipment and things like that. Let's go ahead and head east. Where could the road be? Let's go east again. Oh, better not get lost here. Let's go east again. North. So that way? You can't go that way. All right, so let's go north, south. We're now at the road. South, and it says, oops, you got lost. So this would be your experience for the very first time playing Dragon and Princess. And now that we're lost, we go south, we're still lost. And so this is all random. What I'm doing now, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just, well, eventually it's going to put us back on the path. Yeah, the signs are very helpful, but you have to know to get these landmarks to look on where you are and then search where you are to get to the sign. Are we still lost? You're still lost. Still lost. North, south, west, east. Still lost. Finally, you recognize the lines. We're at the road. So if we look here, the road stretches and we're in a thicket. We're now at a road. So what happens if we go west? And then we get lost again. Oh, man. You'd be stuck there. Okay, finally. We recognize the landscape, and the game has randomly put us back at the tea house. So now if we wanted to... Fine. Let's look at the tea house. Search the tea house and then read. Go back to the castle. We can go south. Oh, south, south, and then east, east. And then we're now at the castle. So if we look, we should see nothing at interest at the castle. All right, so let's head south. We're now at Wasteland. Getting scary. Go south again. We're at the Lake of Joker. And then, we skillfully swim across the lake. We're now at Oak Forest. And we're now at Apple Forest. We're now at Oak Forest. You can't go through the branches. You're now at Oak Forest. You can't go through. We're at Oak Forest. You're now at the Beach Forest, Oak Forest, Beach. Swim across the lake. So you can see how easy it is to get lost. Oh my gosh. So the adventure side of this, what we're experiencing right now, the text only adventure part of the game is a little rudimentary, because we played some other adventure games that have a little bit more robustness to it. But I want to get to a battle to show you what it's like. The battles here we go. The battles are random. Something's appeared, and now let's see what we got. Hit any key, and we go to the battle mode, the tactical role-playing mode. Now, role-playing video games is another thing that is completely cool that they bring this part of, and this style of game is what makes this very unique. The tactical role-playing game at this point is so rare. The only other games that we've seen so far anywhere on any system have been Tunnels of Doom that come close to this on the Texas Instruments home computer, or one we saw recently, the Warrior of Roz Volume 3, The Wild. That's how rare this kind of experience is. Now, blending the adventure game with role playing is something we've seen before with lots of Western releases, like the Stone of Sisyphus. The Sword Thrust series does that. Empire 1, World Builders, and Empire 2. Morton's Fork also does that. There's also Dragon's Lair that's on the Commodore VIC-20. Sword of Peace that's on the ZX81. Adventure to Atlantis, Dr. Goodcoat's Cavern, The Haunted Palace, The Black Dwarf's Lair, The Keys of the Wizard, that was on the TRS-80 color computer, Escape from the Dungeon of the Gods, Warlock on the VIC-20, The Quest on ZX Spectrum, Chateau, that's on the Dragon 32, and then at this time period, there's video games that are incorporating not straight role-playing or not straight adventure games, but I just want to get you to understand how special this is to see a game blending the two modes together, and it's a tactical role-playing game. It's insane. Okay, so here's our commands. We can move, attack, search, and then go through. What are we fighting, though? Did it tell us what we have? So it's Chrono's turn. I'm highlighted with the white square. Also notice that all 5 of the characters have a number assigned to them. Like I got number 1, I think there's a number 2, number 3, 4, and we all have our own outfits. So we have clothes to represent where we are. So I think we have one wizard. Let's go ahead and move. Let's go move, and then which direction we want to move. Go ahead and go to the side over here. And then my turn is done. We go to our Charlie's turn next. And now Charlie's going to, let's surround him so we can... Let's go ahead and move to the right spot. Okay, so his turn's done. Marshall's up next. We can go ahead and move in this direction. And I think that is it. It only lets us move for the first time. All right, so let's get everybody in position because I don't know what's going to happen when they attack. So Curtis is up next. Let's go ahead and move from the south. Okay, turn's done. And then the enemy goes. Looks like Grizzly Bear is what it is. Attacks Marshall, but it fails. The bandit's coming in. So we have a bandit and a grizzly bear. Let's all surround the grizzly bear. Move, move, move. Okay, my turn's done. Charlie's up next. Let's get him to be here. And then let's go attack. And then which direction? We want to attack that way. Attack the grizzly bear. 5 damage. Very nice. All right, Brian's up next. Keep moving to this spot, and his turn's done. Let's go ahead and move Curtis to the side there, and Curtis is turn. Now the enemies are going to go. Grizzly Bear hits Marshall with 17. Yikes. I think he only has 20 hit points. Let's look at the condition of everybody. Do you want to see everyone's condition? Yes, because I think Marshall might die. Chrono's condition is, there's our power, speed, hit percent, our HPs. Mine's at 50 because I haven't been hit yet. Okay, so it looks like we got 50 each, possibly. Okay, Charlie's looking good. What was Marshall? Yep, he's got 15 hit points left. Yikes. Then Brian's condition is looking all right. Curtis is okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move me down. I'll stay right there. Charlie will go ahead and attack. Attack south. 5 damage dealt. We got to kill this grizzly bear before the bandit shows up. Go ahead and attack. 8 damage. Nice hit. Grizzly Bear's still going. Let's go ahead and move Brian in so the Grizzly Bear can't attack in that turn. So you see how this is playing out. I'm taking turns controlling and moving every character. This is very rare for a video game, and it's paired with an interactive fiction or a text-only game. Very, very different, and we love different here on Chronologically Gaming. All right, so let's go ahead and attack. Curtis is up. Hit it. But the attack fails. Darn. All right, enemy's turn. Let's see what the grizzly bear attacks Curtis and fails. Very nice. And the bandit's probably going to move closer. Yep, he's coming in. All right, so I can't go for an attack, so I'll actually stay. I'll move in. Let's move it to the bandit to stop him. There we go. So I'll move in there. Let's have Charlie attack south. Notice they're giving us little bits of an animation too, much better than, I mean, again, we're only comparing this to Tunnels of Doom and The Wild, and they're giving little animation for all the attacks. It's very cool. All right, so let's have Marshall attack. Hit at 5 damage. Is the grizzly bear dead? No. All right, so let's do it again. Attack. Hit it, 2 damage. Brian's not hitting as hard. And then attack. And that one fails. Darn. Every character that gets rolled in the beginning is pretty much the same stats. And there's no way to change that. The only way that you can increase in level is every time you make successful attacks. That's how you're getting experience points. All right, so let's go ahead and let's just stop there. No, I do not want to see everyone's condition. All right, let's go ahead and skip 5. I'll stay right there, and then let Charlie go and attack south. 9 hit. Nice one, Charlie. All right, let's go with Marshall attack. That one fails. All a roll of the dice. Plus, we're very early in the beginning of the game. Let's go ahead and attack north. 3 damage dealt. Grizzly bear is tough. In my playtest, I've never come across a grizzly bear. But then again, I didn't go this far. In my playtest, I was fighting snakes, which weren't that difficult. And yes, Charlie, this game is predating Ultima Exodus. It's predating the Gold Box SSI role-playing game, or the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons games. Very, very cool. All right, let's go ahead and move in. I'll play along. So Chrono's moving in. Let's go ahead and attack south. That one fails, so Charlie's hit missed. Go ahead and go Marshall. Attack to the right. That one failed. Everyone's getting bad rolls now. And then attack up to the top with Brian. 3 damage. Grizzly Bear is still alive. And then Curtis. Nice hit. 8 damage. And so Grizzly Bear's still going. Oh my gosh. Grizzly Bear hit Curtis with 26. That's terrible. Okay, let's go ahead and attack this bandit and see what happens. So this is first attack, but mine failed. Of course it did. All right, attack south. That one fails. I'm sure we're not leveled strong enough for this because I don't even know how many hit points the grizzly bear has. Let's go ahead and attack. Brian's hit misses. It fails. Let's see Curtis go in, and that one fails. Something else to consider is there isn't a magic system to this game. So what you see here, you're going to be buying weapons and armor from the shops and stores, and then you're set off on a first quest by the king. When you complete that quest, then the princess will be needing to be rescued. So it's like it's very similar to a Calibeth, where the king is going to be giving you a quest to go on. All right, let's go ahead and attack, and I miss again. That bandit's very wily. All right, let's go ahead and attack south. That one fails. 5 damage on the grizzly bear. Still alive. Now, every time you do a battle, you can see how long everything will take. You will be taking a long time to grind. You'll be taking a long time to play the battle scenario out. Oh, gosh. And Marshall got obliterated by the grizzly bear. Yikes. All right, let's go ahead and attack. And I miss again. I know I have a sword. Just not very good at swinging it, I guess. All right, that one fails. We also don't have the grizzly bear. Uh-oh, we're failing a lot. Everyone's sad because Marshall died. Yep, see? After Marshall died, everyone misses their hit. Uh-oh, got 10 hits. 10 HP on me. All right, let's try it again. Attack. Mine fails too. Man. Yeah, so this part of the game, most likely, you're not supposed to be in this section to be fighting, because you're supposed to go to the town, familiarize yourself with the exploration mechanic of the game. Make sure you have the right equipment, because we started with a lot of gold that the king gave us, and then start grinding a little bit closer to home. Around the castle, fight some snakes, level up, and then explore even further after that. So this game, I want to point out that at this point on the history of video games, a true genre of role-playing game can be considered loose, or a true genre of adventure games can be considered loose. So every now and then when we come across a video game that is doing something kind of like one of those genres, we say it has elements of that game. So, for example, since the beginning of video games, there's been some games that I would consider have adventure game elements, not a true adventure game. Here on our show, if a video game is inspired by the very first game called Adventure or Colossal Cave Adventure, then we call it that. an adventure game. But if a video game has elements of an adventure game, then we just put that it's kind of like an adventure game, but not a true adventure game. And adventure game elements would be a game that contains storytelling, exploration, puzzle solving, non-playable characters, dialogue, and an inventory system. And then we've also seen for role-playing games, there's been true role-playing games, but then there's been games that they don't really fall directly into an actual role-playing video game, and we say it has RPG elements. It has a character leveling. It has an upgrade system. It has inventory system. It has exploration and quests, or it has random battles or elements that affect your main character. You know, like thirst, fatigue, hunger, and things like that. And so if it has elements of that, it's going to pick and choose a few of those things, but it doesn't have everything that would encompass a role-playing game. And we're going to lose this battle pretty fast. So this game has a lot's going for it. Automatic leveling. It has permadeath. So we just saw Marshall die. Marshall would be dead forever. There's no way to bring Marshall back in this game. Very sad, I know. Don't start crying yet. This is also one of the very first video games that we've played that has a fan translation someone's done so we can play. And moving forward, as we get more and more games from Japan, I'm going to try to seek out these hacks or fan translations so we can dive in and play these games longer, because we've experienced this with a few other games like the Spy Daisakusen. That one I couldn't find a translation for, so we really didn't get as far as we could for all the other titles that are out there. This does allow you to play a long game. You're going to be leveling up and grinding for quite a while, so the save feature is very welcome for this. It also is going to be released later in 1983 for the Fujitsu FM7. This game, I'm going to include lots of links down below so you can get even more info if you want to explore Dragon and Princess. The CRPG Addicts blog is going to be down there. Gaming Alexandria is another one. And then because I've been exploring YouTube and finding people uploading games from Japan, Retro Rock is one example, Old Game Database. I'll have links for their gameplay and one of the original versions of this down below as well. So this game, you'd have to play a long time to really absorb and rate it. It's kind of similar to when we played Wizardry or Ultima. This one, though, after the first experience and all my playtests, there's a lot to be desired compared to everything else that's available for all home computers. Dragon and Princess is, I'd still say, maybe around the average range, even though there's not it's not a very average title with the two different game modes. Because Charlie's saying great value for your gaming buck, giving it 4.5 stars. I wouldn't be able to go as high as that one. It is unique that it's blending the two different pieces together, and it's also rare, but with the way it's combining the two, I don't know if I could say it's one of the best games you could play of all time. Look at that. Yeah, big time investment, getting a 4-star from Brad. Brian saying nothing like it with 4.5 stars. Yeah, right. I'd want to play for that mode too, but I wouldn't say it's one of the best games you could play across all home computers right now. Yeah, Curtis is saying 4.5 for the innovation, mixing genres, and that's true. When you are able to have better graphics, you can do that. Marshall's saying 3.5 because he died. Don't take it that personal. Well, I'll say I'm not going to go with one of the best games you could play across all home computers. It is decidedly around the same range as the Wild that we saw on the TRS-80. So I'm going to say 4 stars. It's still excellent for everything you could play on all home computers, but not something that's pushing in the realm of the best ever, just because the two modes aren't like it's not doing something exceptional. The tactical role-playing game is side of it, but I'll say 4 stars for Dragon and Princess. It's welcome addition, something new, and we love new here on Chronologically Gaming. All right, that's where we got to put our video game playing on pause. We don't want anyone else to die in our party if we were to continue playing Dragon and Princess. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, more brand new releases for your Atari 2600, including one of the best from Imagic, US Games, and maybe we will phone home. That's it for today, and like I always say, it's 1982. Shouldn't these princesses be rescuing themselves? Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.